So, you're starting your career at sea, and you've probably heard this alphabet soup of letters, STCW. And I get it, it sounds like just another complicated, boring rulebook, right? Well, I want you to think about it a different way. It's not a rulebook, it's your blueprint. The blueprint for a safe and successful career out on the water. This one thing, it's what defines you as a professional, no matter where you are in the world. But let's back up a second and ask a really basic question. Why? I mean, why should a seafarer from Indonesia have to learn the exact same stuff as a seafarer from Norway? Think about it. Your ship could have a crew from 10, 15 different countries. So why is having one single global standard so incredibly important? The answer is actually pretty simple, but it's powerful. Because out there, on the water, safety is the one language everyone has to speak. There's just no room for errors, no room for misinterpretation when you're talking about people's lives, ships that cost millions of dollars, and the ocean itself. Every single person on that bridge, they've got to be fluent. Okay, so here's what we're going to do in this explainer. We're going to break down this blueprint piece by piece. We'll start with the why, the golden rule of the high seas, then we'll dive into STCW itself and really focus on the part that matters to you right now, Table AIR/4. We'll cover your core skills, see how they work in practice, talk about your role in a safe watch and emergencies, and then wrap it all up with what this all means for your career. So let's jump right in. The golden rule of the high seas. You got to understand, before STCW existed, things were, well, a mess. Pretty much chaos. Each country made up its own rules, so the skills of one crew could be wildly different from the next, and the result? Sadly, a lot of accidents at sea, many of them caused by simple human error because the training was all over the place. It became crystal clear that something had to change. Shipping needed one set of rules for everybody. And that is exactly where STCW comes into the picture. It stands for the Standards of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping for Seafarers. This was the big solution from the International Maritime Organization. You can think of it as the one global rulebook that says, hey, I don't care where you're from, if you're working on this ship, you have to meet this minimum level of skill and knowledge, period. You know, here's the best way to think about your SCW certification. It's basically your driver's license for the sea, but it's a license that's accepted everywhere in the world. Seriously, it doesn't matter where you were trained. When you hand over that certificate, you are telling any captain on any ship, I have the foundational skills. I know how to do my job safely and professionally. It's your proof. And it's really important to get that STCW isn't some old, dusty rulebook that was written once and then forgotten about. Not at all. It's a living, breathing document. It started way back in 1978, but it's been updated over and over to keep up with the times. For example, the Manila Amendments in 2010 brought in super important stuff about managing fatigue and dealing with all the new technology on board. It evolves to keep us safe. And the impact this had? Oh, it was huge. Just think about it. We went from a world of inconsistent rules where you never knew what you were going to get with a crew to a system with one global minimum standard. That means there's a guaranteed baseline of skills for everyone on board, which directly leads to fewer accidents caused by human error. This is why STCW is absolutely non-negotiable. Okay, so that's the big picture. But what does this blueprint mean for you, right now, today? Well, if you're a rating forming part of a navigational watch, or RFPNW, then your personal checklist is right here. STCW code, table A-2/4. This isn't just some random section. This is your job description. You need to know it inside and out. Now, instead of getting lost in a bunch of jargon, let's just break this table down into 4 simple pillars. These are the core skills you absolutely have to master. Number 1, steering the ship and following helm orders correctly. Number 2, keeping a proper lookout. 3, contributing to a safe watch. And 4, knowing your emergency procedures. That's it. 4 pillars that you're going to build your entire career on. Let's connect these rules to reality on the ship. Steer the ship just means you follow helm orders with total precision. Keep a proper lookout means you are the eyes and ears of the bridge, spotting danger early. Contribute to a safe watch means being a reliable, focused team member. And operate emergency equipment means you know exactly what to do the second that alarm sounds. All right, let's move from the rulebook to the bridge itself. Because let's be real, this is not about memorizing a textbook for a test. These are real physical skills that you have to prove on the job day in and day out. This is where you show everyone what you can do. So, picture this. You're at the helm. The officer of the watch, the OWO, gives you a command. It's short, it's standard, and it's in English. Port 10. Your hands are on the wheel. What is the single most important thing you have to do next before you even think about turning that wheel? You repeat the order right back to him. Port 10, sir. That simple act is a critical safety loop. It confirms you heard and understood the command correctly, and it prevents a small misunderstanding from turning into a disaster. Only after you've done that do you execute the order. That is discipline in action. It's the same thing for lookout. Just shouting, "Hey, there's a ship," well, it's not enough. A professional report always has 3 parts. First, what is it? A green light. Second, where is it? On the starboard bow. And third, what's it doing? It's about 3 miles away and it's crossing from our right to our left. That is the precise information your OOW needs to make a critical decision. This all brings us to your wider role in keeping the watch safe and knowing what to do in an emergency. I want you to think of yourself as a vital part of the ship's defense system. Whether you're at the helm or on lookout, your focus and your readiness are the first line of defense against collision, grounding, or any other hazard out there. 4 hours. That's how long a typical watch is. 4 hours where your complete, undivided attention is required. You know, fatigue is the enemy of a safe watch. It dulls your senses, it slows your reaction time, and it leads to mistakes. That's why managing your rest is just as much a professional duty as standing the watch itself. And when that general alarm rings, panic is your enemy, but procedure is your friend. Just remember 4 simple, life-saving steps. 1. Stop your work immediately. 2. Get your safety gear on. 3. Go straight to your muster station. And 4. Wait for instructions. Your calm, disciplined response is absolutely critical. So, let's bring all this together. We've talked about rules and procedures and skills, but this is about so much more than just taking boxes on a checklist. This is the absolute foundation of your entire career as a professional seafarer. Because it all really comes down to one simple equation. Competence builds trust. Every time you correctly repeat a helm order, every time you make a clear lookout report, or even just show up to your watch alert and ready, you are building trust. You're proving to your officers and your crewmates that you're a pro who can be counted on when it matters most. And that trust is what gets you noticed. It's what leads to a better career. So I'll just leave you with this. The STCW isn't just a set of rules. It's an invitation to join a global standard of excellence. It's the toolkit you need to become a critical link in the chain of safety. So the real question is, are you ready to pick up that toolkit and become the foundation of safety on board your ship?